This week is going to be like nothing we have ever seen. In this video, we're going to take a look at the latest developments surrounding the throwdown in D.C. on Wednesday the 6th, how more GOP senators are prepared to show the world all the evidence of election illegalities and improprieties, and how Vice President Mike Pence is indeed signaling that he is going to stand with President Trump and make this a week that history will never forget. You are not gonna want to miss this one. Welcome everyone, the happiest of New Year's to each and every one of you. Dr. Steve here, ready to bring you our latest episode celebrating the inevitable collapse of left-wing globalism and the unstoppable rise of a new conservative age. So if you haven't already done so, you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. We'd love to have you as a regular part of this channel, where each and every day we focus on optimism and encouragement in the midst of all the defeatist fake news nonsense spewed out by the mainstream media. Now, before we begin, we have all experienced blackouts, right? Particularly at night, you know, that bizarre feeling when the power grid goes out and our homes go completely dark. Well, I'm preparing for my next blackout with a wonderful device called the Lightbug. The Lightbug is a portable, solar-powered, ultra-bright floodlight with 3 lighting modes. Because it's solar powered, you'll never ever have to worry about wires or batteries. And because it has a power indicator, you're going to know how much charge is left. It's perfect to light up your fishing, your hiking, or camping trips because it's so lightweight and portable. And as part of their extended special of the holidays, if you click on that link below, you're going to get 20% off. So what could be better? Make sure to click on that link below or head on over to lightbug.com and get your emergency backup light today. All right, let's dive right in here. It all comes down to this week, my friends. I think Jack Posobiec said it best. This week is going to be like nothing we've ever seen and will define our country for years to come. And it's not just Jack Posobiec. Wayne Allen Root, who's a close friend of the president, he said that Trump is not under any circumstances conceding. In fact, he just tweeted out that something huge is about to happen, which is why Trump flew back to Washington from Mar-a-Lago. And in his words, get ready for the fireworks. Most interesting January in history coming up fast. So the rhetoric surrounding the president is indeed heating up big time here. And there's no question that this week promises to be one for the history books. So let's start by taking a look at where we are right now as we speak with how things are shaping up for January 6th. Obviously, the 2 most significant events over the last couple of days have been the announcement of a group of 11 Republican senators led by Texas Senator Ted Cruz that has announced they will challenge the election results and object to Biden's electors. And secondly, the announcement of Vice President Mike Pence that he supports the election challenge and the objection to the electors. So let's look at these in turn. So on Saturday, a group of 11 Republican senators, these are including, of course, Senator Ted Cruz of Texas, Ron Johnson of Wisconsin, John Kennedy of Louisiana, Marsha Blackburn of Tennessee, a number of others, they are all joining Josh Hawley of Missouri in declaring they will vote against the electors on that are being offered by the several disputed states on January 6th. The 12 senators, along with 160 Republican congressmen, all plan to vote against Biden and these 6 contested states. Now, we did a video on this last week when Josh Hawley announced that he was going to object to Biden's electors, and we noted that the dam was about to break as a result of Hawley coming forward as the first senator to announce his objection. With Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, what he's been trying to do is squelch any and all opposition against Biden for a number of reasons. But the main one seems to be because he knows that if one senator stands up and opposes Biden, in effect, they'll all have to oppose him. McConnell knew that once one Republican steps up, he knew the dam would break and virtually every Republican would have to vote for Biden, vote against Biden and for Trump, or their political careers are over. Tom Cotton, who just came out against challenging the electors, is going to find this out the hard way. He's going to have a very hard time entertaining any semblance of a future political career if he ends up voting against Trump, right? They all will. It's absolute political suicide for any Republican to refuse to take a stand and fight for Trump. I have no doubt that Ben Sass of Nebraska and Mittens Romney and Lisa Murkowski, they're all going to get primaried. And it's because they think that they can conduct politics as usual, which is the politics of the political class fueled by a bunch of corporate oligarchs that govern according to their own values and interests, which are so often at the expense of the values and interests of the people, of the citizens. The populist uprising that's going on all over the world, not just here in the United States, indicates that that ship has sailed. Those days are over. And you can choose this day who you're going to serve. You can either side with the deep state or you can side with the deplorables. You're either for the political class or you're for the people. You're either with the oligarchs or you're with ordinary Americans. But the days of being able to hide behind those meaningless and silly little once seemingly pious platitudes of, well, we're going to defend the Constitution, or we don't want to disrupt the democratic process. That's all nonsense. Those days are over. For tens of millions of people, this election and this political class are the epitome of democratic disruption. And they've had it. A mass sea of protesters and marchers and demonstrators are promising to descend on D.C. this Wednesday will prove it. Now, in addition to the 11 new senators who have announced that they're going to challenge the electors, Vice President Mike Pence has publicly announced his support for the senators and for objecting to Biden's electors. Now, obviously, this is bringing to the foreground the whole notion of so-called Pence card, right? So if we go back to 1876, which is the last time we had a contested election on par with this one, since then, according to the constitutional scholar Robert Barnes, who I find very helpful here, the vice president has been the presider over the congressional proceedings, and he does have significant authority in terms of what he can do with electors. Pence has a few choices here. He could read out the names of the electors, and as he reads them out, he could read the Republican electors from the contested states that submitted dual electors. Or he could read out the electors and simply omit the electors that were certified by the governors in those contested states, the Biden electors. So there's a couple of options here. Now, if he does that, then he, as the head of the proceedings, in effect says that he does not recognize those electors due to their contestation. And if he goes the other way, if he actually ends up reading out the names of the Republican electors, then Trump, in effect, would at least theoretically win. Either way, it's the vice president who has ultimate authority over the electors. Now, of course, the question has been whether Pence is going to do this. Obviously, given the stakes of this election, if Pence refuses to do something, anything that would demonstrate his loyalty to Trump and the deplorables, his future in the Republican Party is absolutely over. January 6th would be the date of the last day of Pence's political career. So there's enormous pressure on Pence to reject in some way, shape, or form these Biden electors. And so with the 11 senators coming together to challenge the election results, we seem to be seeing a compromise arise here that Pence can sign on to. Now, before we get into that, I want to personally invite you to our exclusive New Year's virtual conference this Saturday, January 9th, 2021, to help you feel prepared for the year ahead. Now, we've got some awesome speakers lined up. You ready for this? We've got Pennsylvania State Senator Doug Mastriano. He's going to be with us. Senator Mastriano got the whole ball rolling by spearheading the Gettysburg hearings. He has been amazing. He's been working with President Trump. He tells us Trump is more determined than ever to win this. So Senator Mastriano is going to be with us, as well as Ian Smith, the New Jersey gym owner, defying their governor's tyrannical lockdown orders. We're bringing you the amazing patriots who are fighting on the front lines for you and for me. Now, seating for the conference is limited, and seats are going fast. But to make it even better, we are extending our New Year's special for 30% off. So don't wait. Make sure to click on that link below, taking advantage of this extended New Year's registration special. And you'll be glad to know that a portion of the proceeds are going to go to Good Neighbors Home Repair. So not only are you going to get blessed by all this, but you're going to bless others with your registration as well. So do not wait. Click on that link below and register for our New Year's virtual conference today. All right, so here's the compromise that Ted Cruz put together, which looks like Pence is signing on to. Ted Cruz has noted that the last time we had a contested election like this was in 1876, the election between the Republican Rutherford B. Hayes and the Democrat challenger Samuel Tilden. In that election, there were a series of accusations of fraud in 3 states, in Florida, Louisiana, and South Carolina. And what Congress did is they didn't throw up their hands and say, we can't do anything about it, move on. Instead, what they did is they appointed a commission. It was called the Electoral Commission. It was made up of 5 House members, 5 senators, and it actually had 5 Supreme Court justices. I know which 5 I would pick, right? And what they did is they considered the evidence and they made a determination based upon the evidence and the disputed ballots. Rutherford B. Hayes won. Now, Cruz wants Congress to do the same thing here. He and the 10 other senators are proposing a 10-day audit into the election results from the disputed states, resolve the claims, not merely dismiss them out of hand like left-wing activists disguised as journalists at CNN want us to do. You know, the very same media outlet, by the way, that peddled the Russian collusion hoax for 3 years. Keep that in mind. And at the end of the 10-day process, we move on, regardless of the results. If the concerns of tens of millions of Americans are taken seriously, if they're addressed rather than heckled and mocked and dismissed, we can move on from this. And that appears to be what Pence is going to do here. According to Peter Navarro, senior advisor to the president, Pence is considering authorizing a 10-day window for an audit. Now, of course, we'll have to see if that's what he ends up doing on Wednesday, but this option clearly takes the pressure off of Pence in terms of what names to read with regard to the dueling slates of electors. But more than that, we have to remember that the objections to the electors that are going to be raised in the House and the Senate on Wednesday are in effect forcing functions. They're going to have the effect of putting the facts in front of the American people. The mainstream media has been doing everything they possibly can, and yes, that includes the gutless, feckless Fox News, faux news. They've been doing everything they possibly can to dismiss this, to reject this, to ignore, to heckle it. But now, to their embarrassment, now they have to cover all the evidence that we've been presenting for the last several weeks. Both the Senate and the House will be required to debate for 2 hours per every state that is objected to. And so far, we're looking at 6 contested states, perhaps even more. And so this objection, both the House and the Senate, it's a forcing function to bring the evidence in front of the American people, the majority of whom already believe that the integrity of this election was indeed compromised. And so now the mainstream media is going to be forced to cover all the evidence presented by Senate and House Republicans. And make absolutely no mistake, this can in fact go on for several days. So it is showtime. This week promises to be like nothing we have ever seen. Now, before you go, make sure to like this video, comment down below, and subscribe to my channel. And you'll definitely want to check out my latest video. I just uploaded it on how liberal states are collapsing as people are fleeing Democrat-ruined cities in droves. You're not going to want to miss this. So make sure to click on the link, and I'll see you over there. God bless.